This is 1946, the US military at Bikini Atoll in the Marshall Islands in the Pacific Ocean. Actual footage of an underwater nuclear explosion test. The moment the bomb was detonated, a giant white dome suddenly appeared on the calm water. 2 million tons of seawater and sand were sprayed into the air. It formed a water wall 1,800 meters high, 610 meters wide, and 91 meters long. Now this happened before the nuclear explosion. The sea was densely packed with about 95 warships. These ships included 2 aircraft carriers, 5 battleships, 4 cruisers, 12 destroyers, 8 submarines, 60 landing craft and transport ships of various types, and 3 barges. The Marshall Islands governor was also invited to observe the experiment. When he boarded the U.S. McKinley, he was greeted by Major General Brandy, the commander of the Joint Task Force. The bomb was codenamed Baker and had a plutonium core. It was placed in a container at a depth of 27 meters below the surface of the water. The caisson was suspended by steel cables from a 1,000-ton ship, the LSM-60 landing ship, detonated by radio waves. The ship was located in the center of the target ship array. The target ship was ready for testing. The abandoned ship flag was raised. The researchers and crew members left the ship one by one. The last person to leave the landing ship LSM-60 was Colonel Parsons, a nuclear expert who detonated the nuclear bomb before leaving. Then they left on a speedboat, going out to sea 18.5 kilometers east of the atoll to observe the fleet. Away from radiation, the flagship of the observation fleet was on the aircraft carrier Shangri-La. Parsons was a famous atomic bomb expert, reporting to Admiral Brandy on the command ship. Everything was ready. The personnel entering the main observation ship had to go through a strict security check. The observation ship mainly had researchers from the Los Alamos laboratory. They were responsible for the test and causing the explosion. The testing equipment included automatic cameras and radiation detectors and air sample collection gas. On the naval observation side, a total of 150 support ships were mobilized. 42,000 people were gathered in various places, quietly waiting for the first underwater nuclear explosion of mankind. The seawater will filter out the terrible ultraviolet rays and most of the visible light, so you don't need to wear a visor. The observers can look straight at the ships on the horizon. The signal has 2 minutes left. Everyone in the fleet stands aside and prepares to record this historic moment. Dr. Holloway, head of the Los Alamos laboratory, and the entire fleet were now in a state of tension and anxiety that was almost painful. 5 seconds to go until the explosion. The countdown ended at 8:35. The operator pressed the detonation button. After a dazzling flash, a giant white dome suddenly appeared on the calm water, flying a mile high in the air in less than a second. It was supported by a thick water column. It looked like a Christmas tree with a sparkling, transparent trunk. 1 second after the nuclear explosion, the bubble would be within 150 meters in diameter. A total of 2 million tons of seawater and sand were sprayed into the air. It formed a water wall 1,800 meters high, 610 meters wide, and 91 meters long. The remaining void in the sea sucked in a lot of sand and gravel from the seabed. They were thrown into the thick cloud along with radioactive materials through the water column. Like black cauliflower growing on a smooth white mushroom, causing huge waves and fog, like the fog under Niagara Falls covering the nearby ships. Everywhere was white. 12 seconds after the nuclear explosion, the wall of water began to collapse due to gravity, forming a giant waterfall 270 meters high. This waterfall fell from the sky, stirring up a wave of high radiation. The target ship submerged most of the sea surface. After the nuclear explosion, the LSM-60 landing ship in the center was directly vaporized by the nuclear explosion. 8 other warships sank after the nuclear explosion, including the battleships U.S. Arkansas and U.S. Nagato, the submarines U.S. Saratoga, Amberjack, Skipjack, and Cardinalfish, and the oil barge YO-160. The heavy cruiser Prinz Eugen was severely damaged after the nuclear explosion and sank while under tow in December. The destructive power of this nuclear test came mainly from the shockwave of radioactive water and dust that contaminated nearly all target ships with radiation. The following are videos recorded by people with cameras. These videos are for reference only and are not intended to attack or insult any individual or organization. Thank you for your interest in Unlimited Talents videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
硝酸铵加铝的爆炸，乌克兰的 T-72主战坦克被反坦克导弹击中。A-10由主攻击机发射的空对地制导导弹。这是路边矿山爆破的场景，用到的炸药足足150吨。航空导弹袭击了民房，但16战机发射的精确制导导弹。
我操，那边还有。掉下来了，掉下来了，掉下来2个，看到吗？那边不是